A very popular resource that's made available for free to those who stop by your HomePoint Center or visit your website are the audio podcasts or CDs. Now, these are put on display or posted on your site. So, for example, here on the right, you'll see that we have the CD of the latest audio episodes available in a tray right next to the 120-day plan in our HomePoint Center. And the reason is, just as the 120-day plan is always available in our HomePoint Center as kind of a starting point or a refresher point for being intentional at home, there's also always a new audio available on a 2 or 3 times per year cycle. And we use that as a gift from the church to the families in order to encourage them and inspire them. And the reason we do it as an audio is because that gives us what we call a third time slot. Well, let me explain what I mean by that. A big part of the HomePoint strategy is the understanding that people will only give you 1 or 2 time slots per week. They might give you a worship service, so they'll attend that. They might go to a Bible study or a small group, or they might volunteer for an hour. But once you go to a third time slot or a fourth time slot, so for example, a Saturday workshop or a Wednesday evening study, the percentage of those who are participating in those things in your congregation drops dramatically, and unfortunately, most family ministry efforts fall into a third or fourth time slot. So they don't create that church-wide culture. But when you give an audio product, which only costs you about $1, but has a high perceived value to people, you get a third time slot to inspire them several times per year. Now, each audio is specifically about intentionality in one's marriage or as a parent. They are not about anything and everything under the sun. They are not sermons typically. We may draw from some sermons and include those when they have a specific emphasis on marriage or parenting. But by and large, they aren't sermons. They're other resources such as a speech from John Trent on the blessing when you do your blessing campaign, or a talk on how you do family nights in the home, or interviews with couples about why is praying together so difficult and what do you do to make that easier in your home. So they have kind of a unique flair to them. In addition to the list of podcasts that are available that cover marriage and parenting topics, there are also campaign-specific episodes. So, for example, when you run a Meals at Home campaign, you take the Meals at Home audio and you include that in the kit that you give out to the families on your website and so forth. So for most campaigns, there's also an audio that you can give out as another way to inspire your families. The files are made available to you as an MP3 download. You can take those files as they are. You can upload them onto your website, as you see here on the left. You can put them on your mobile app if you have a mobile app. And of course, you can burn them onto CDs and duplicate those CDs, make them available and on display in your HomePoint Center. We also often, when we have a campaign-specific kit, we include the audio in the kit along with all the other tools that are made available for that specific campaign as an easy way to distribute these to people to get that third time slot and to inspire them to be intentional. Now, if you decide you do want to customize these audio files, you can do so very simply. Just get a basic recording device that creates a digital file. You take that digital file along with the MP3 file of the original podcast that you got from us, and you merge them together. Now, you don't have to edit these. You don't have to do any of this because we make them generic. But it is nice if you'd like to have a unique introduction from your church, perhaps from your pastor or your visionary champion or someone on your team who introduces and sets up the topic. That can be edited in basic software such as GarageBand or other tools of that nature. If you're not familiar with how to do audio editing, it isn't difficult, and I promise you there is someone probably under 18 years old in your church who could serve as a volunteer the 2 or 3 times a year that you need this done, and you could customize them very, very easily. So how does it work? A couple times a year, you select the audio tracks that you want to make available to your people. If you choose to, you can customize the wrap using editing software. You can use the generic version, just as it is. I recommend when you create the CDs that you always put 2 tracks on each CD because most podcasts are 30 minutes or less. 2 will fit on there rather than creating 1 CD for every single track. What we do is, again, a couple of times a year, there's a new audio made available, and it has a parenting track on it and a marriage track on it as a free gift. And then, of course, you can upload those podcasts for web and mobile devices, so that's also available from your church. I really encourage you to leverage these audio presentations we've made available. They include some very well-known authors and speakers on family. They include some unique ideas. They include input from other families who are on the same journey. And I think they could be a real inspiration to your people. Again, just another tool, another resource you can put in the hands of your families very inexpensively to inspire and encourage them to be intentional at home.